And God said, Job, have you entered into the springs of the sea? Well, nobody knew there were springs in the sea until 1977. Here we've got a scientific discovery in the last 30 years that God told us about over 4,000 years ago. Science is very slowly catching up with a few parts of the Bible. I don't think they're ever going to catch up with the whole thing, but they've caught up with just a few parts. There are actually springs in the sea. They go down to the real deep parts of the ocean, and there are vents. Sometimes it's bubbling up boiling hot water. Sometimes it's clear water. Oftentimes it is fresh water. You have freshwater vents coming in the bottom of a saltwater ocean. When I was in Hawaii last week, we got a helicopter and one of those tour things, you know, you pay them $80 and you fly around. They flew over one of the areas of the island where Gomer Pyle has his house. It's for sale, by the way, $5.5 million if you want to buy Gomer Pyle's house on the island at the town of Hana, H-A-N-A. But in that area, you notice it's lava everywhere from a volcano. There's a cliff of lava, and there's waterfalls just shooting out of the side of the lava. It rains on top of the mountain. The mountain is so porous, it soaks up all the water, finds a channel, and comes squirting out someplace else. I bet we saw 500 waterfalls in that just quick tour with a helicopter around that island. Waterfalls everywhere. And they weren't all just like a stream running and falling over a cliff. They're just starting in the middle of a cliff and shooting out. This is similar to probably what's happening at the bottom of the ocean. Somehow there are possibly still interconnected channels or caverns within the crust of the Earth. Walt Brown has done great research on this, on what's called the hydroplate theory. If you don't have the book In the Beginning by Walt Brown, it's a tremendous book. We have it in our bookstore out here. That is an awesome book. Now, I disagree with Walt Brown on a couple of minor things. He does not think there was a canopy above, and I'm convinced there was, and we can discuss that all day. But he's got great research on the hydroplate theory, how that when God first made the Earth, there was a layer of rock for Adam and Eve to live on, you know, the dirt, probably 10 or 20 miles thick. And then under that was interconnected chambers of water. And that water under the crust of the Earth, it's mentioned in Psalm 136, it's mentioned in Psalm 24, how the earth was founded upon the seas. That water is probably what came shooting out to the surface at the time of the flood. Before the flood, most of the water that is now in the oceans was under the crust of the earth, stored in these chambers. They came shooting up to the surface, and the Bible has numerous references to that. And if you get the Defender's Bible by Henry Morris, you can get that through our bookstore on our website. Tremendous Bible with footnotes on all sorts of interesting things. Henry Morris, the president of Institute for Creation Research for many years. He's got a lot of stuff on that topic there. Okay. There are springs in the sea. Possibly there are still interconnected channels within the crust of the earth, like a honeycomb, like we have caves all over. Missouri, just Missouri alone, has 5,000 caves. Many have never been explored. I've been in so many caves. I like going spelunking, as they call it. You know, I was in a cave once in Tennessee. When I saw the opening to the cave, I said, "We're not going in there, are we?" And Kurt Wise, who's a brilliant man, teacher at Bryan College, he was with me. He said, "Yeah, let's go in. I've heard it's a really neat cave." You had to decide when you went in the cave, the opening was about as wide as this room and about that high. It was probably as... you had to decide when you started, you had to slide through. You had to decide if you wanted your face to the left or your face to the right, because you couldn't turn your head over as you went through. It was that tight. I put my face down and I started sliding through this mud, you know, and slid about, scooted about 20 feet. Finally, you come out and you're in this huge room. And we spent the rest of the day with our flashlights going around exploring this gorgeous cave. But that was the opening, that high and that wide. But then we had to, of course, slide back out to get out of the cave. And then later that day we went to the Hardee's restaurant or something. We're standing there with just mud, you know, dried mud, caked on both sides of us. There's two PhDs standing here ordering a hamburger, and the lady's looking at us like, where'd you guys come from anyway? I thought, I wonder what's going through her mind right now. Just give me the hamburger, would you, lady? So, there are caves all over the world, is the point. There are probably within the crust of the earth, even under the ocean, caves, cavern systems. Most of this is probably left behind from the time of the flood, when the pre-flood caverns under the crust of the earth, they used to hold all the water, collapsed. Many of them would collapse, but not totally. There would be pockets of water trapped. There's possibly still interconnected, and there are springs of water shooting up in the sea. And that could be an entire study just on that topic. Okay.